All right, so today we're going to be talking about specifically how to look at and approach empty houses. I will be going over this more in depth inside of my Patreon as well as in my 5-day group coaching, where we'll be covering what empty houses means and how to use them inside of the natal chart to really hone in and balance out your energy, balance out your chakras, balance out your auric field. So when we tap into our chart, this is a very helpful thing for us because it allows us to step into our power, and learning our chart really gives us the incentive about how to use and orchestrate and manage our abundance, our love, our energy. Thank you all for being in here. Really grateful. If you are interested in getting a reading, the link is in my bio. So today we're going to be looking at Nicole's chart, and I want to break down with you what all of these empty houses mean, just as a taste, and so that you can understand how to use empty houses inside of your own chart so that you have less questions. All right. So what's up, everyone in here? Definitely, if you are present, go ahead and type 333 in the chat or in the comment section below. I would really appreciate that. Grab a notebook. We're going to be going over empty houses quick. Later on today, I'll be having a live in a couple hours here. We'll be going over Mercury and how to use Mercury. And then later on tonight, we'll be going over the moon. So when you have empty houses in your chart, this is actually very helpful. A lot of astrologers will tell you that it has to do with possibly you not having to deal with it in this lifetime. That's not exactly true, because those houses still hold things like asteroids, comets, and points. So it's true, but it's also not necessarily true. The reason being is because each individual house in your chart out of the 12 signs has a constellation associated. So because it has a constellation associated, this is going to put you in position to understand what that empty house means. So go ahead and pull up your chart and identify which houses are empty inside of your chart so that you can find out what this means inside of your own personal chart. This can also be a reflection if you're just reading your chart and you want to understand the energy of that particular house a little bit more deeply. So, for example, Cancer is very focused on being a water sign and a cardinal sign. We want to approach it from that angle first, just because it's going to give us the foundations that we need to make an informed decision about how to use the sign. A lot of us are subscribing to the personality of a sign, and that's not necessarily helpful. So we're going to stick to specifically just the element and the modality of the sign. So for example, wherever you have Cancer in your chart, out of your 12 houses, there will be one house that is for Cancer. And when you look at the sign Cancer, you're going to want to hit it first with the element, which is water. Water being the element that handles and really dictates over psychology, as well as creativity, not to mention psychic abilities. So wherever you have Cancer in your chart, again, it's going to be psychology, it's going to be creativity and psychic abilities. Because Cancer is a cardinal sign, hey Nicole, perfect. So because Cancer is in a cardinal sign, this is going to help us understand that you need to lead in that house. So for example, Nicole has her cardinal house in the 11th, okay? So just because the house is empty doesn't mean that it doesn't have energy. It doesn't mean that you can't utilize this to your abilities, because Cancer itself is ruled by the moon. So that's important to remember, because the moon is also in the chart. Just because the house is empty doesn't mean that the moon doesn't rule Cancer. So when we're looking at empty houses, we need to find the sign that dominates this house. It doesn't matter what house system you're using, so long as you figure out which sign is mostly over this 11th house. And it will always be, for example, 11 signs after your ascendant sign. So if your ascendant sign is Virgo, which Nicole's is, the 11th sign would be, for example, Cancer. This would say that the 11th house is the friendship house. So when we're looking at 11th house or any house, we want to identify, what does the house control? What does it want? What does it do? This is, everyone, by the way, if you're asking me questions while I'm teaching you something, you're ignoring what I'm doing, and that's not helpful. So stop asking me questions. Focus on what we're talking about with the empty houses. All right? Let's stop asking me questions. I'm teaching you something right now. I will get to your question ASAP, Rocky, but we have to get through this first. So, continuing on, 111, if you understood what I just said and why I'm saying it, go ahead and type 111 in the chat. So, pay attention to what I'm talking about, because this will help you. I know you have your own things going on, but this will help you. So, 11th house is going to help you figure out your house of friends, okay? Grab a notebook if you just got here. I don't have any moderators right now who can tell people anything, so I'm just going to moderate myself. 11th house deals with friendships and is going to give you everything you need to know. By the way, I will be posting this on my YouTube channel, so go ahead and follow me on YouTube while you're here. DM me your questions and your chart. My chart readings are open if you would like a personal one-on-one coaching with me. Also, I'll be launching my 5-day group coaching where I'll teach you how I got to 250,000 followers and how to read your birth chart in alignment with your vibe, okay? So 11th house is friendships. Go ahead and type friendships in the chat or in the comment section. Once you type friends in the comment section, I want you to remember that the sign Cancer is ruled by the moon. Because Cancer is ruled by the moon, we then want to look at, where is the moon in Nicole's chart, okay? Where's friendship in Nicole's chart? Nicole has her, the moon in Nicole's chart is in the 3rd house. The 3rd house marks communication. So go ahead and type communication in the 3rd house, okay? Go ahead and type communication in the 3rd house if you understand that the 3rd house handles, rules, and helps you use communication. So for example, because Nicole's 11th house is empty, we are looking at the moon sign, and this is going to tell us that Nicole, the way that she communicates with other people best, is going to be aligned with this Cancer sign. Cancer being ruled by the moon says that this Scorpio moon here is how this individual is going to step into her friendships. It's going to be in a scorpionic way. Now, Scorpio is also a water sign. So Nicole's going to step into her friendships mostly, and most of her friendships are going to be surrounded with people who are, again, water type people. Again, that's creative, psychological, and psychic, spiritual, all of this. And that's a result of this being an empty house. This empty house is helping us understand what it is that Nicole seeks in her friendships. All right. So I'll go over it one more time. Someone said, can you repeat how Scorpio got from the empty house? So when we look at an empty house, we look at the empty house, we look at the sign associated with the empty house, whichever sign is over the empty house, and we take that planet of the actual sign. So the moon rules over Cancer. So then we would go to the moon, because there's nothing in this house, which means there's no tie, there's no connection. So we need to thread it through to understand what it is that Nicole wants in her friendships, in her community. So Nicole wants watery leaders, people who are psychic, people who are creative, people who are spiritual as friends. Why? Because the moon is in the third house. The third house has the moon. The moon rules Cancer. Go ahead and type Cancer moon if you understand what I'm saying. Or excuse me, Scorpio moon. All right. And this would also suggest Nicole's in here and she's saying that her best friends are Pisces and Scorpios. Exactly. The only conflict or the main people that she would work with in society, in her friendships, in her larger community would be people who have heavy Cancer placements. All right. Cool. So that's how you break down. That's an example of how you break down an empty house in your chart. Go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram. I'm almost at 10K. I'm in the middle of launching a 20-seat, only 20 seats available. I'm going to teach you how to become famous, how to read your birth chart, and how to make magic out of your life. Last year, I was literally homeless, and now I have a 250,000 followers teaching astrology. So I'm pretty good at what I do. I want to teach you that. Go ahead and DM me if you're interested. It's going to be $555. It's going to be 5 days. I'm going to give you all of the tools and techniques of how I went from literally homeless to making a living teaching astrology. I'm going to teach you how to read your chart so that you can do it for yourself. Go ahead and support me by following me on Instagram, subscribing to my YouTube channel. Go ahead and join the Patreon. It's $9 a month, $9.99 just for you to have access to learn your energy. A lot of you have had a spiritual awakening and you need to figure out what your problem is. Your problem is literally that you don't know what to do. The reason you don't know what to do is because you are not following your map yet. Your star chart is your map. There are multiple different versions of a star chart. Once you learn how to read one, you'll be able to understand how to read others as well. This will put you in a position to have a better life, to have happiness, to find love, and also manifest money. But you have to take the time to know yourself. If you don't take the time, you will continue to have a life of uncertainty, continue to have a life of no accomplishments. You'll continue to attract people that you don't need or want in your life. So it's important to get into this container with me so that I can teach you these skills and resources that are going to be helpful to you to implement and strategize what it is that you find important in your life and make that something significant for not only yourself, but for other people who resonate with you. A lot of you are missing out on the opportunity to attract your tribe. So this container, this event is going to be really perfect for people who are creatives, people who start businesses, want to start businesses, people who want to be leaders. If you are none of those, this class will be very hard for you. And if you are not sure of what to be doing with yourself in your life right now, this is a great opportunity to step into your power because, again, I will teach you how I went from literally homeless and not knowing what to do to now I'm teaching 250,000 people how to read their star charts. All right. Think about it. Make it make sense to yourself. I'm not here to convince you. I'm here to invite you. So this will be going up on the YouTube channel. I'll also be posting it to the Patreon, which is, again, like $9. Hop in there. There's other things in there to help you, such as tools and resources for understanding your star chart, which is your energy. So I hope to see you in there. Peace. Don't forget to DM me, say hi. DMs are flooded, but keep them coming. Talk to you soon.